as a kid, getting bullied, my dad not being in my life a lot. Cena, I could watch him and just escape.
What up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here for CBS Sports. And look, I didn't do very well in science class. I can't tell you much about the theory of relativity or the theory of plate tectonics, but here's what I can tell you. This man is the youngest and current Money in the Bank winner and the youngest WWE United States champion in history. He is to A-Town what Seth Rogen is to me, a local treasure. Theory, how's it going, my man?
Dude, what an introduction. I'm here, man. I'm here today.
Appreciate it. Now, look, we got so much to talk about. Clash at the Castle coming up, Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. Maybe a little appearance by Mr. Money in the Bank, we hope?
Possibly. But who knows? I mean, what would I even do there?
Who knows?
No idea.
How could Theory possibly get involved in the mix? You know, he's a nice guy. He doesn't like to trouble anyone during their World Championship matches.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we get there, I'm all about the investigative journalism, the hard-hitting questions. So I want to know, right now, at this very moment, where is the egg?
Man, I had to give it back. And you know what? Thinking back now, where I'm at now, $100 million egg. Was it the best choice to return it? Probably not. But you know what? It got me the Money in the Bank contract. And to me, what's inside of that could be worth $100 million. That achievement can be unlocked.
Well, it's a smart business plan, right? You pass up the short-term game for the long-term investment. World title, one of many, hopefully, to come. Monday was a big week. We saw the return. Father's Day came around twice for you this year. Johnny Gargano is back in the WWE. I know it was sort of a mystery from the locker room. I imagine maybe you had a little bit more heads up considering you're in the ring with him. Can you just tell me about your reaction whenever it is you learned that Johnny Gargano was coming back to WWE?
Yeah, it was just kind of one of those last minute things that you find out and you kind of realize like, whoa, this is happening. Okay. So for me, I mean, obviously I was really excited. And even too, like to think where this could go. And it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to, but I get it. I get it.
I think for NXT fans, the way is remembered very fondly. It's sort of an unusual twist on the pro wrestling faction. You know, the sort of like family dynamic was, I think, very refreshing for people to see. How much did your time in the way do for you in sort of advancing your skills? Because there was a lot more acting to that role. Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like chopping up with Johnny and sort of getting to spend a lot of time with him and picking his brain?
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you get into this and you're doing the wrestling, and it's almost like everybody's like, yeah, figure out who you are. And it's so easy to say. But for me, I was constantly trying to figure out like outside of the ring, I'm a very goofy, just good time, laid back person. And I'm always trying to be this real serious wrestler. And I was like, man, this is like not it. And then when I got with Johnny, I kind of, I was like, hey, could I try something? And he was so open to it. And it just kind of opened up this door of personality and just all this fun you see. And I noticed that the way we would act, it kind of just spread around and had everybody just having a good time. And it became this whole family. And it made everything so natural and so easy. And the jokes and the little like expressions and stuff like that. It was just a natural thing. Cause even when we weren't filming, like we were just like that together.
How was the pitch first described to you? Like, did they come up to you and say, so Candace and Johnny are going to be your parents, but it's not weird? Like, how did this conversation come up in the first place?
So the idea from what I got was that, Johnny and Candace are two people in NXT that have done it all, but maybe they need some backup. So maybe they need some bodyguards. So who could we get to be Johnny Gargano's bodyguard that would make it legit? Who could we get that would make Candace's bodyguard legit? So they took me in Indy, which I feel like for our age, we don't look the way we should for our age. I feel like we got a little muscle on us. So I think that
17-year-old bodybuilding champion right there.
thank you, dude. I would say that was kind of where it was supposed to go. And I think everybody knows when you play a bodyguard role, it's more so arms crossed, serious. And that's just what I was like, man, this is not what I'm trying to find. Like, this is, I got to figure out how to make this work. And literally, I just asked Johnny, hey, can I try something? And I kind of let my personality out a little bit. And literally, I remember the next week at TV, Triple H going, man, I didn't know you had comedic timing like that. So it just opened a door for so much. And I will honestly say this, with Johnny helping me bring that out, it changed a lot for me when I got to Raw. I just felt so like different but comfortable. Just like, yeah, what do you want me to do? Like, I just want to make it better, and I want to just show that, I'm not here just for a match. I'm here to tell a story. I'm here to have a personality for people to connect to.
It's refreshing to hear because obviously the theory that we see on TV has a little bit of an inflated ego, and justified a lot of success at a very young age. When you're sort of trying to balance between that line on a personal level of growing in confidence and celebrating your accomplishments, but also, trying to not let that get too much into your head and weigh you down. What's the best advice you've ever gotten in terms of sort of navigating this early success?
To me, and I always say this to everybody, and I've said this to just people that are higher up and mean a lot to me. And I always say, like, and it's cool to get that conversation going with them. But to me, I always say, if I lose that 8-year-old kid, or I lose that kid that walked into wrestling school on the first day, then I didn't get anything. I don't have anything. It doesn't matter about the achievements. It doesn't matter about being the youngest this, the youngest that. It doesn't matter about, all the big moments, and just all that stuff doesn't matter if I lose the kid that, got me here, and that hungry mentality. And I think something that I'm so blessed with is I love the process. Like, dude, that moment and that achievement and that celebration with everybody is so cool, but that means nothing. The real celebration and that real feeling of work is when I'm alone and I'm putting in that work and I'm constantly pushing to that next thing. That moment's just for a second, but that process is forever if you want it.
Nice. I love to hear that, man. What do you think? What part of your game do you think needs to level up the most to sort of further round out the skill set inside and outside of the ring that Theory's developing?
I just think overall, I think everything. I will say I'm pretty confident in what I bring to the table in every category, because this is something that I've wanted my whole life, and I've always made sure that I have every box checked, whether it's the look, the in-ring skill, the mic skills. But I do feel like, and everybody sees that over time, and the more situations that you see my character in, it's going to cause growth, I think.
Obviously, we've had a change in leadership both on the executive and the creative end. It seems that the powers that be now are still very much behind Theory. I can't help but wonder, though, what was sort of your gut reaction when the news came that Vince, who's obviously a big supporter of yours, was stepping away? Because in any business, when there's change at the top, that has impact on the people beneath them on the ladder, good, bad. What was your gut reaction in terms of your direction just when you found out that that change was first happening?
So to me, the first thing you think of is like, well, then who's in charge? And we seen who would be in charge, and I think as soon as I found out who the team was, and Stephanie, Triple H, Nick Khan, Bruce Pritchard, just having those people that I have a good relationship with all of them. But I think the Mr. McMahon retirement got a lot of us because we've seen him forever, and he laid the foundation. Literally, there's all these superstars because of Mr. McMahon, and I think it was just kind of like a wow, like that's really happening. So that's kind of where it got me there. But as far as creative in the future, no worries about that. Just because of the talent and being with Triple H before, and knowing his strategies, and his creative power and his direction of how he looks at things. And not only having him, but we have Stephanie, we have Nick Khan, we have Bruce Pritchard, and these are all eyes that are on the game in different ways. And I think when it comes to that foundation Mr. McMahon has laid for us, okay, here's these people to give us a bunch of creativity, and here it is. And I think it's no better time than now, especially even just speaking on the talent that's involved now, that's on the roster. We have a hell of a roster, so it's very exciting to know what the future is, and it's going to be very competitive.
Certainly. Well, we're headed to Cardiff, Wales on September 3rd, and Raw 2 million rating, only show year over year improving. So I can tell all around there's enthusiasm and excitement. As we begin to wrap up here, this is your second stint on Monday Night Raw. You were brought in earlier, WrestleMania tag team title match almost right away. Seth Rollins, Murphy, that stable. And then, you went back down to NXT. You linked up with The Way. But there was like a 5 to 6 month gap there where we weren't seeing a ton of Theory. What was going on for you behind the scenes during that period of time?
So for me, it was just kind of like, and it's always funny when people bring up, like, I was on Raw before. So to me, I never got that main roster feeling, you know?
Mm.
It was just a crazy time because I went from NXT, but I was in NXT and it was kind of like, well, we got all these guys we're working with right now. So you're kind of just doing matches and here. And then someone got injured on Raw when we were at the Performance Center during the pandemic. And it was like, let's bring, Theory in for this spot. And then I was in there with that. And I think just that time off was just kind of getting a plan together and trying to figure out what's the idea. And eventually finding out that, hey, you'll come back and you'll kind of be on this losing streak where people see that, like, damn, like maybe he doesn't have it figured out. But then there's Johnny Gargano that takes you under his wing and it completely changes you. And it kind of, I think you see the evolution of that, of going from serious wrestler to being with Johnny to being the goofy son to eventually I'm gonna have to take off and learn on my own. And I did, but I'm a different man now, Johnny. So it's just a cool little process. But it's all about, and like I said, those 5 to 6 months, it's all a process, and I will say this, it's definitely testing to know, okay, is this person going to be able to handle the process of this? Can they, be patient? And there's a lot of opportunities where, I was like, man, like, because for me, coming off the Indies and being an Evolve and being Evolve champion and being at the top and coming into NXT and kind of just being like, oh man, I kind of got to like wait, but it's like I'm ready, and just I think it gave me that good moment of being able to take myself back and just train really hard and put everything together and then just come out with this killer recipe that makes Theory the youngest everything.
There we go. I love to hear that, man. Okay, I know we're running short on time here. I do want to ask, I know it didn't happen at SummerSlam. How confident are you that we're going to get John Cena versus Theory at WrestleMania? What better stage to do it?
You know what? I will say that I'm pretty confident that that could happen for sure. And I want it to
Uh,
happen.
Of course you do. For those who are sort of in the dark, John Cena, big inspiration for you getting into this business. You've kind of talked about how big that moment is to you, but I sort of want to get a renewed idea. John Cena versus Theory at WrestleMania. What would that mean to you?
Man, it's so weird to meet somebody and pretty much have to explain to them like I modeled my whole life after you. And it's like one of those things where, like, as a kid, getting bullied, my dad not being in my life a lot, Cena, I could watch him and just escape. And it was the connection to his personality. And that's something I learned from him. He told me, don't ever think, people go out there and, they want people to connect to their performance. Nobody's going to connect to your performance unless they connect to your personality. And I started thinking, and, even with that, just that process through NXT to finally being drafted to Raw officially was like just a time to figure stuff out and really how can I connect with them though with my personality, because I mean this is a world in WWE where everybody can kill it in the ring, everybody can go hard in the ring. So what's going to set you aside from just killing it in the ring, and with that was just one of those things where I learned that from him. But to have that moment with him is the person that pretty much I had to put in my own work, but somebody that got me to the dance just mentally. Man, that it just kind of takes the words out of my mouth to think about that actually happening.
That's awesome, man. This is the sort of stuff I love talking about. Okay, last thing, we got to get you out of here. I'm gonna hold you to one word answers on a few rapid fire questions. Okay.
All right.
All right. If Theory is the John Cena of this generation, who is its Randy Orton?
Mm. Braun Breaker.
Okay, I like that. Your high school mascot was the Wolverine, if I'm not mistaken. Is Wolverine the best X-Men? And if not, who is?
I would say Deadpool.
That's a good answer. I'm partial Nightcrawler, but that's a good answer. Okay. Lemon pepper wings, overrated, underrated?
Overrated.
Ooh, A-Town might not be down with that one. Last thing, yes or no, are we going to get the Austin back in Theory?
I would say no, just because I love Theory. I really, to me, Austin was just always to throw on, my first name, but Theory was just what I created in the backyard as a kid. So to me, yeah, I love it. Theory. That's all we
Perfect.
need.
Works for me. Well, on that note, Theory ahead of Clash at the Castle at Principality in Cardiff, Wales on September 3rd. I want to leave you with the last word, so I'll do my part very quickly. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. If you're still here, you know what you need to do. It's not a theory, it's proven. Subscribe, thumbs up, notification bell, leave a comment, let us know. Will Theory cash in at Clash at the Castle? Thank you to CBS Sports as always for empowering the video. Full feature with Theory in the description of this video. Theory, if there's anything you want to let the people know, the floor is yours.
Yes. Cardiff, Clash at the Castle. Who knows what could happen? Could you get to see and have the privilege to see the youngest United States champion ever in WWE history? And what is that? The youngest Mr. Money in the Bank? I wonder what I could do with that title. I just wonder what I could do.